Hey. Okay. If you're watching on Instagram, head over to my YouTube. That's where the show really takes place. This is just a prompt to point you towards the YouTube. And if you're waiting on YouTube right now, shout out to you. You see the countdown. Hey, what's going on, Lionel? Click the link in my bio. Head over to the YouTube right now. We got to get started on Friday Night Vigil. Today we're talking about, should men be striving to retire their wives or their mums? Just the real V. Head over to YouTube, man. We're about to get started. Okay, then. Let us get started.
Yeah. Is it alright if we kick back? Yeah. Is it alright if we lay back? Tell me if you got time, we can take that, lay back. Or we can take two, spend more time while we're exchanging truths. I know there ain't time, I know it don't exist. Can we exist in sync, be mature and resist? Nah, really sweetie, I only speak truth. They call me Miss More time cause it's true. I miss the old days, I miss the old me. I miss not missing anything, that's the key. Let it all flow, let it all fly. Don't follow fashion, follow your passions inside. Sing it, girl, yeah.
Sometimes I feel lost in this mission called life. Yeah. And I know sometimes I ain't living right, but it's alright. It's alright. Sometimes I've gotta lay back. Sometimes I've gotta lay back. Sometimes I've gotta lay.
Some days I gotta lay back, kick back and sit back with my hair all back. And I don't care if it's nappy plaits. I'm a nappy queen, damn bad, real bad. Nubian queen, this Nubian sings. La 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 la, all day with my king. But we still find time to hunt in the forest. Clothed in nothing but at least dishonest. Who can say that? They vow to be true. This is real, being real's what we do. I do this, even when it's ugly.
Okay.
And yeah, sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes I'm
ugly.
weird. Sometimes I wanna shut it out and not care. And sometimes I
about
wanna
to get started.
disappear. And sometimes I wish I could appear on a cloud. And sometimes I wish I weren't around. And yo, sometimes
I feel lost in this mission.
Make sure you call people. Make sure you hit up your brethren.
Yeah.
Get them involved right now.
And I know Sometimes I ain't living right.
Tell them to come join us.
But it's alright.
Time for Friday Night Vigil.
Alright. Sometimes I've gotta lay back.
It's a laid back vibe.
Sometimes I've gotta lay back.
It's a laid back vibe.
Sometimes I've gotta lay back.
Hey, we are back. Yo, it's popping off and it's popping off heavy. Welcome back to Friday Night Vigil. I am very happy to be here. Thank you for every single person who is here. If you are on the Instagram, make sure you head over to YouTube. YouTube is where you get to enjoy the show. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, thank you for being here. You've probably seen the topic. You know what we're here to discuss. But before we get into all of that, this is a good time if you want to call anyone you think is going to enjoy this discussion. Send them the link right now so they can get involved. After I've done my monologue, we take a little intermission break. We'll start taking calls. At that point, if you want to call into the show, pinned at the top of the YouTube chat, you can see a link to the Zoom call. Join the Zoom call. Make sure you've got your camera on, and I will take calls and hear your thoughts and opinions, and we'll get a nice conversation going here on the show. Now, I also wanted to do something a little bit different at the beginning of today's show. I was on Instagram scrolling, and I came across a brand that looked really interesting. It was really nicely designed, first of all, but I noticed something quite special about it, which is that it was a mocktail brand, first of all, and second of all, it had all these Yoruba names on it. The brand is called Irakura. I have purchased 2 bottles here from Irakura. The beautiful thing is, I didn't even know, but when I got in touch with the brand, turns out it's my homegirl running it. So shout out to you, Kenny. It's a pleasure to come and get some of your product. And I will be trying this out live on the show, just giving a bit of a rundown. If you guys want to check it out, go to her Instagram page. I'll drop the Instagram in the description on this video. But first things first. First thing you have to get is that the presentation is fantastic. The branding, Irakura. I mean, there's something quite interesting about it because it's and I can see Yoruba names like Erora and so on. But at the same time, it almost looks Japanese in its styling. Very interesting style and brand. Black bottles with the wooden tops right here. So it's already a nice vibe. If I was entertaining, for example, you bring these out, you already feel like you put some effort in. It's a quality product. The finish on it is fantastic. I like good presentation. So shout out to Irakura on that one. I am going to try. Which one should I try first? Okay, they have numbers on them, so I'm going to try number 4 first, which is Irise or Irise. I'm not sure how you'd say that one actually. This is tropical fruits soaked in curacao and 0% vodka. So they're all mocktails. Remember this, guys. All right, first try here on the show. Ooh, it's really come out blue as well. Okay. All right, here's to 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, August the 5th. Let's go. Oh, that's good. That's nice. Oh yeah, this is good. This is like a nice little date night vibe. Maybe you're Muslim. Maybe you maybe you're just off alcohol for a while, but you still want a nice vibe with it. You've served a nice dinner. You want a cocktail. This is a nice one. Definitely very tropical. And obviously the blue color is very intriguing. So definitely, I will recommend the Irishe. I would say the Irishe is good for like entertaining. Good. Ah, I'm also gonna try number five, which is Erora. In Yoruba, that means take it easy or be careful. And this has a botanical stimulant in it. All right. I heard there's a lot of like deep forest berry flavors, as well as like a light tonic water flavor as well. So I'm looking forward to this. Try and get as much of the Irisha out of this. All right. So one thing to note is that this one is fizzy, so you're not supposed to shake this one. But let's see how it goes. Okay, so already it's coming out with a nice deep red color. I guess that's the forest berries coming into play. Again, just like the Irisha, very very translucent. Oh, that's got a kick to it. Oh, oh, okay. Look, one more time, guys. The name is Irakura. 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 You can find it on Instagram. Just DM them. DM the good sis over at Irakura, and you can do pickups and deliveries. They're based in London. This is a nice little nighttime vibe. I don't even know where would I even hit with this drink. Ah, this one is it's nice though. It's nice. It's good. It's got a nice kick to it afterwards. It's how do you describe it? Yeah, like I'm getting the deep forest berries. Definitely the forest berries are definitely the top note in terms of flavor. But then afterwards, it's just got this. It just kicks you. I don't know if that's the botanical stimulant. Oh, that's good. So shout out to Irakura. Dope. Again, shout out to everybody just joining in. Say hello in the chat. Bobby Windy, I see you. The name of the brand is Irakura. You guys say hello to each other in the chat. And yo, I'm gonna get started on today's topic. Now, I let people give their suggestions or of topics that they would like to discuss. Just sometimes because I like to get a sense of the zeitgeist. Like there's stuff that goes through my head. I might be consuming a particular type of content or experience something in my life, and that starts to picture that starts to paint how I see the world. But I like to see how you guys are seeing it as well. And you would have seen on my Instagram stories, I took suggestions. If you're not following me on Instagram, look up here somewhere on the streaming banner and make sure you find my Instagram page. Go follow me, man. Shout out to my boy Kelvin. I see you out here. Shout out Michael as well. All right, so I put out, the I said like, come give me the suggestions, and there was someone said money, which I really liked, but I needed something specific because with money you can talk about so many different things. You can talk about that forever. Shout out to Earl Ferguson back from last week. I see you. But in particular, there was one that stood out, and this was the question: should men strive to retire their wives or their mums? Now, I'm not 100% sure how the question was asked. Is it asked in the case of like wives or mums, as in they're interchangeable? Like, should you be trying to retire anybody? Or is it that or do you have to pick between the two? But the reason why I liked it was because it definitely struck something in me and something that I've always kind of wanted to talk about, but haven't really had the right avenue to. And that's what Friday Night Vigil is all about. So I get the opportunity to discuss it now. So, should men strive to retire their wives or their mums? Now I'm gonna treat this as a one by one. So I'm gonna first of all talk about um, wives, and then I'm gonna talk about mums. Okay, first things first. Should a man strive to retire his wife? That is a question I can't really answer directly, like one word answer. Why? Because we live in a very confusing world. Gone are the days where a man provides and a woman is a homemaker. Women have their own careers as well. So retiring a woman has so much more to do with so many other factors these days. It's not just as simple as retiring her. It's got to do with, whether she wants to have a career and wants to keep working, whether she wants to stay at home, basically it's about what she wants. So trying to have this discussion is going to be different for each couple, but I do have some general terms to say about this issue. Um, I've told you how it is, which is that usually it's basically down to whatever the wife wants. I don't think that's how it should be. I know it's not an easy position to take in today's world to say that women maybe shouldn't get everything they want. But hear me out when I say this. As a man, if you're going to take responsibility and lead your home, and that's if. I know some people don't believe in that. Some people believe that they can have two drivers for one car. Fine, go ahead. That's your family. But in a situation where a man is supposed to be the head of the home or leading, it's for that man, like a team manager or team captain or the leader of a business, to look at the skills of his team and put everybody in the best place to achieve the goals of the team. So for his wife, if right now their goals are financial, her being in the workplace may not be a bad idea. They may want to stay. She may want to stay there. They may be able to make that decision that, look, these are the goals. Let's discuss it. I think it's better off if you stay in the workplace. But if, for example, you start to get to a point where the money, the extra £1,000 does very little for the where you're trying to reach. Let's say the aim is now the money is no longer really the issue. The utility of the extra 1,000, extra 10,000, extra 20,000 that your wife is bringing in here and there, whether that's monthly or yearly or whatever, may not actually add much utility to your family and the goals you're trying to reach. Maybe some more qualitative goals like the kids' education, their behavior, the state of the home. Maybe a kid has particular special needs. Whatever it is that might require a shifting around of the roles is also perfectly reasonable, in my opinion. But I think one of the problems about the retiring of the wife here is that you're most likely going to get pushback from it because there's a fundamental disagreement as to what purpose women's careers hold. I'm not against women having careers. That's not my point is here. My point is, what's the point of the career? I can tell you what I think the point should be, but I can also tell you what I often observe the point to be. Right? I think that essentially the more qualitative aspects of your life, like family, like serving your community, like living out a God-given purpose, are actually more important than career. But I think in today's world, career and money rules everything. And so women have essentially been told that career is everything, and if you don't have a career, you're not really doing anything. And career is the mainstay. Everything has to be fit around it. It's my career. I personally believe your career should serve your family. I believe that if you're going to marry and you're going to start a family, at some point, it should no longer the thing at the forefront should no longer be these are my career goals and aspirations. It's good to have goals, it's good to have aspirations, but they shouldn't be the thing at the front. Especially if there's a huge need from your family in another area and the only thing keeping you in that career is your sense of pride and ego. I think we really do need to start reassessing why do we go and get all of these degrees and these jobs and this money? It's supposed to serve a purpose, right? It's supposed to get us to a point where we can provide and we can build and we can pass something on. I don't think it's always getting us there. I think it gets to a point where sometimes the amount of work and the amount of money that we're chasing isn't actually benefiting our family that much. Which leads me on to my second point. Should a man be working to be retiring his mother? Should? No, I don't agree. I don't agree. Now, bear in mind, I asked this on my Instagram stories, and it was kind of neck and neck. It was 57% for yes and 43% for no, I think, last time I checked. So people are kind of split on this issue. I'll tell you where I come from on this. I believe in generational wealth. I believe that that's how wealth is really truly created. It's passed down through generations. The idea is, like the Bible says, a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children and for his children's children. The idea is that the wealth should be flowing downward through the generations. Now, I know a lot of rappers and a lot of just a lot of black men in general really pride themselves on being able to buy their mama a house, you know, retire their mother, and so on. And that's an honorable thing to do. But it shouldn't be that way. She should have a husband who's trying to retire her if that's what they're trying to do. Who's trying to retire them both, if we're honest. They should both be working towards retiring themselves. And leaving something for you to pass on to your generations. And I think that this is something about, that's become part of, my culture as a Yoruba man, that we need to challenge. If I go and make it, and I use that money to buy my mama a house, as far as I'm concerned, that's money that should be going to my kids' generation to set them up. That should be money that's sending them to uni, sending them to getting them their first property. That's investment money. That's assets that should be going downwards so that they can build on that. And for some reason in my community, we seem to be hustling backwards. We seem to get the money so that we can take care of the elders. I'm like, taking care of the elders is not a bad thing. It's a very honorable thing to do. It should be with love and care. And if you bless your parents, that's also a good thing. But to be relied upon to provide for your parents, that's a problem. That's a problem. When parents use their kids as apologies for the camera, it's gonna do this. When parents use their kids as their pension plan, they're robbing not only their kids' future, but their grandkids' future, as far as I'm concerned. The capital's not supposed to flow backwards. You're on your way out. You should be leaving something to go on. And I think this is one of the problems with generational wealth, because here's what we haven't considered, and here's where it usually comes in. Here's where it comes into what I tend to be interested in. Most of you know I'm very interested in relationships between men and women, marriage, family, and so on. Here's what's at stake here. Family, especially with marriage at the center of it, is one of the biggest wealth creation institutions we have in our society today. You have the ability for, basically your income is a wealth creation tool. Right? Your expenses, your day-to-day expenses, food, rent, blah, blah, blah. That's your tax for being alive on earth. But really your income should be buying you the assets that are going to pay you passive income and that you can pass on as an inheritance. Right? You get two people together and say we're both going to pool our resources now. That's supposed to give you an economic strength that a single person doesn't have. Right? So now you can raise children and whatnot, but you can also put together a nest egg and pass on something to them. And they can go multiply it if you give them the right tools and the wisdom and the knowledge. But here's what's at stake: people are getting married and divorced over somewhat flimsy reasons. We grew apart. You know, the sex wasn't good. You know, whatever it is. There's some real reasons, don't get me wrong. But people always go to the extremes. Oh, like, what if he's abusive? What if blah, 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 she was trying to stab me in the middle of the night? I know, those are the extremes. This is not the run of the mill. The run of the mill is I wasn't happy with him anymore. Irreconcilable differences. So and so cheated. You have every right to divorce if someone cheats, by the way. There's biblical grounds and everything. But at the end of the day, you are setting your kids at a huge disadvantage, and your generations to come are losing out on wealth that they should be building because then you split up. What happens when you split up? You start splitting assets. You're no longer pooling resources. Now dad has to go and rent some bedsit or whatever it is. Money's going down the drain. And the thing, and here's the other thing: a lot of women who are single mums, are doing a tough job, and really feel like as long as they can keep a roof over their heads and food in their kids' mouths and in their own mouths, then they're doing everything they need to do. Now that is great for if you just have to survive. You found yourself in a terrible situation. You got to do what it takes to survive. But this is no way to live life. This is where a man is needed to come in with some vision and a desire for legacy. You have to be thinking generations ahead. You have to be thinking that it's no longer okay just to pay. That's like saying, I am going to pay 100% tax. Because remember, I described all the costs that we have right now, the food and everything. These are a tax on existence. But really, your income should be the tool with which you use to gain wealth. If you treated it that way around, like I want to lower my tax liability, the spending, the spending that doesn't go into assets, and you used it as like my check, my opportunity to go and do a job is my opportunity to go out and buy assets. I think we change how we look at how this money is supposed to go. So really and truly, as a parent, you're supposed to be passing assets onto your kids, which we could go into a whole nother discussion about this, because I think we really need to understand true value creation. Why do I say this? It's very easy today to be like, I'm an entrepreneur. I got 3 businesses. Okay. Let's look deeper into that. Let's understand the difference, right? If you do nails or eyelashes, for example, I would hazard a guess that you don't have a business. You are self-employed, right? You don't have a boss. You don't have someone else, but you are self-employed. You don't employ anybody else. And also, if you stop working, the business ceases to exist. I'm sorry, that's not a business in the terms that I'm talking about it. Because you can't pass that on to your child in a way that would continue to provide them with an income without them having to take up your job. If you can pass on something that they don't have to do anything with, be that a stock that yields dividends or a fully functioning automated business with its own staff, if you can pass them an asset like that, you can start to build generational wealth. Right? That's really what we should be working towards, in my opinion. Right? Not everything's going to be automated. Yes, I understand that. But if they choose to, let's say, run the company, be it the CEO, whatever, that's cool. But even if they didn't have that interest, but they still wanted to keep the company going, or maybe it's property or whatever it is, and they want to hire somebody to run it, that should be fine too, as long as the business can sustain that staff cost. But I feel like this is more the mindset we need to be on, rather than I'm a business owner, I got a business. I tell you what, yeah, me doing stand-up makes me self-employed. Me shooting a DVD that sells online and people can just go on, and people every now and then someone goes on and orders the online video. So no one even has to post anything to them. They just pay for it and download it. That's an asset. I can pass that on to my kids. Now, let's say I built like I do have a production company. Let's say my production company now starts shooting specials for different people so that we can all have our content on the internet. Then you've got a business. Then they can just continue to find more and more stand-up comedians, shoot specials for them, put them up, and we can do sales and split commissions or whatever. Then you've got a business. Then even if I die, the people can continue running it, and my kids can continue getting the money. That's a business. As for the asset, they can also still get paid off of that. That's passive income. Because if someone just goes on and orders the thing, it's going to generate a certain amount of money for them, and my kids can have it. But my stand-up, if I stop gigging, I stop getting paid. So as much as I am self-employed, I am not really a business. Right? So when you understand that, you understand why a lot of us are living out some fake version of doing well, because we don't have anything that can stand as a legacy. We don't have anything that stands as a legacy. We're too busy sending money backwards, hustling backwards. And that's where the problem is for me. That's why I don't believe in retiring your mum as like the goal or something you should be working towards. It shouldn't be that way. That should be her and your dad's responsibility. And that's why I believe that more people need to focus on building stronger families, whether first of all with the marriage in the middle, and with the kids around that, so that you do have the base within which to pass wealth onwards. But here's the problem. There's a financial incentive, like personal financial incentive, for a lot of women to be less cooperative or agreeable. Now, obviously, there's going to be some situations where you just need to leave the marriage because the person's trying to kill you, for example. But let's say you're a woman, you're sitting there, and this guy's stressing you out. Like every marriage basically is. You decide, I'm going to leave. I deserve to be happy. He starts paying you alimony and he pays child support. You get custody of the kids. Whilst you personally have gained from that, your kids have lost out. Not just in not having their father in the home, but also in the wealth that should be coming towards them. It's now going towards paying you. You're paying a whole new set of bills in a whole new home by yourself. We need to really, really address that. There's way more at stake than, fanny flutters. We can't be basing these decisions on frivolous things. It's very serious things at stake here. Kids are really, really being disadvantaged because people are just not figuring this marriage thing out. It's tough. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that's the required work if we actually want to build something down the generations. So if a husband and wife are truly working together and they say, look, this is what we're putting together for our nest egg so we can retire ourselves, that's fantastic. Then it means that whatever they've put aside that's extra, they can pass on to their children. They can put it in a trust, for example. Start a trust fund for their kids. Or even if they just hand their kids, some stocks or a property or whatever it is, help them with their first deposit, they're able to really pass the capital down the generations. That's what I'm trying to say. So with the wife one, I think that's the decision between the husband and the wife as to how they should get. I think they should really, really, really focus on building their family. You can focus on getting more and more money. If you both go and get 60k jobs, so you have a household income of 120k, and the family is weak because both of you are trying to be earners. At the end of the day, anything that you should be gaining from having 120k as a household income will fall apart if the family falls apart. Whereas, if the man makes 60k, for example, and the woman makes 30 because she uses the rest of her time to build her family up, to make sure that she's working on her marriage and she's doing whatever it is in the home that's going to make her husband feel good. The husband is working hard, putting in extra hours to make sure he provides for his family, make sure that he's available, adding in some of the more qualitative elements. Then you can end up maybe, let's say, with 90K. Maybe even he pushes forward, maybe you get to 100 or whatever it is. It's less money, but if they stay together, they'll end up with more money than the couple earning 120K but split up. This idea of splitting up and divorce and so on, it's not just emotional. Emotional is almost the least of it. Because if in my family tree, 2 steps up, someone broke up, I don't feel the emotion anymore. Nobody remembers the emotion. But if that's the reason that there's no inheritance flowing through and down in my family, that I feel way more. So I say in the long run, most of the stuff we're talking about here, when we do all these talks about relationships and marriage, there's some real implications to this. Let's go to some of these comments real quick. Seven Reload says only if they're grateful and appreciated. And here, that's another thing. I get that 100%. You know, people want to feel valued for the work that they do. And I guess that goes both ways. The system has tricked women into thinking their chosen career path defines them. Men work to provide, women work for status. Oh my goodness, how could you hit the nail on the head so hard? Whenever I speak to guys, if you're still on the Instagram, head over to YouTube. The link is in my bio. This is where the show is really taking place. When I speak to guys, right, I'm not talking about single guys. I'm talking about guys who are married. And I talk to them about, you know, how they can increase their income. What do you think their motivation is? They want to provide more. They want to be able to take their wife out, buy her nice things. They want to be able to look after their kids. They want to be able to leave an inheritance for their kids. I speak to married women about their career, and they're talking about self-fulfillment. Wow. What's the point of getting married? What's the point? Why do it if at the end of the day it's about you? And I know women, so I know you're gonna try and say, yeah, but why can't I do both? Whose show is this? Is the show about you? Because in that case, why bring another man and a kid into it as props, as supporting characters, and you're the main character in your own TV show? If you're working as a family, you're supposed to be a team. You're supposed to be doing what's best for the team. It's like the episode of Marital Name. That's what I did on Sunday Sermon. One of the early episodes, Marital Name. And I was talking about how, you know, a lot of women want the same dedication of a traditional man, but they want to be as self-centered as a modern woman. They want to go for their goals, their hopes, their dreams. And they want you to go do what's necessary to support their hopes and their dreams. God forbid. God forbid. What? God forbid. God forbid. What? Are you kidding me? Do you really think that everybody around you is just there to help you get to your dream? The picture you have in your mind of having a husband next to you that ties your strappy sandals and have some kids that makes you look like you've accomplished something and have your career and have your fancy Louis Vuitton bags and have someone to buy them for you and so on. It's not how this works. You guys are supposed to be on a mission. And to be honest, the amount of money that gets lost in a generation with the rise of consumerism is actually crazy. Now, I'm not saying women are incapable of saving for their children. That's not what I'm saying here. But what I am saying is, as more and more women have had disposable income, consumerism has shot up. That's money that really and truly should be going into families, consolidating costs, building up wealth, purchasing properties, assets, whatever it is, investment funds. These are the funds that actually fund the businesses that we end up enjoying anyway. So pumping more money into these markets can sometimes have a knock-on effect on a wider community, especially if, for example, we were running some kind of community bank system. But we're not going to go into that right now. That money is supposed to help build families and therefore the community. But this individualistic version of life that we got going right now, where everybody feels like as long as I can pay my bills, nobody can tell me anything. I mean, we see the results. And to be honest, it's a huge okie doke. The system really got women, really pimped them out, convinced them that, yeah, you see all that submitting that you don't want to do with your husband. Come do it for me. You go into work, your boss tells you to wear this. This is the uniform for working here. You wear it. Boss tells you to come in at this time. You'll be there. You will submit. You will be cooperative. You will do what they ask you to do. You give them your prime years. All the years when you're at your most fertile. You have your most energy. You're your best looking. You use all of that to go and earn money for a company. Then you come and give your family what you feel like giving them. And what about the guys here? Every time a guy decides, like, do you know what? Yeah, I had a kid. I just wanted to sleep with this girl, but now she's pregnant. I don't really want to be with her. First of all of the stuff we discussed last week about fatherhood, the importance of fatherhood, the kid is missing out on that to start with. The second of all, they're missing out on the opportunity to actually be born into a family where the wealth is being generated to actually build everybody up. Especially if you've got a few different children in different places. Now you're splitting your legacy all over the place. And that's because, you haven't learned to control your own libido, or you haven't made good decisions. Or what about the guys who have decided, that at the end of the day, like, for example, I'm a comedian. And when the time came to it, I hated it. I fought back. I pushed back. When the time came to it, I had to go and get a 9-to-5 job. That's what's necessary for my family. There's going to come a time where you need to make sacrifices for your family. And if you're the kind of man who doesn't want to make sacrifices, this has generational impact. And to be honest, it's wild because, of course, corporations are going to be all about getting women into the workplace. Do you not understand that it's not a coincidence that since women have entered the workplace, wages have been stagnant? We know about inflation. We know how much house prices have gone up compared to the average wage. But why would the wages go up? We just doubled the labor force. If you understand basic economics, if you've just increased the supply of something, all things remaining equal, the price is going to go down. If the demand stays the same, basically, or the demand's not growing as much as the supply is, the price is going to go down. And they can afford to do it because they're telling you that there should be at least 2 of you doing this anyway. Before, a man could go and do a factory job and pay for a family of 4. Him, his wife, and 2 kids. Now, a man working a factory job can barely provide for himself. Why is that? It's twice as many workers. You don't have to pay them as much. Labor's cheaper now. Labor's cheaper for everybody because we just by simply saying, let women into the workplace, we doubled the labor force. Now, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. But when you're giving the best of your prime years and women are working the same way as men, competing for the same things, we've lost any kind of mission now. We're not actually building anything. We're just simply pouring time, sweat, blood, tears into corporations, extracting whatever they give us back, whatever we can command, and we're going and handing that right back to corporations again. The tax on living I mentioned, 100%, paycheck to paycheck. You're never going to break out the rat race. Now you got two of you tired and exhausted out there in the workplace, and the kids aren't really getting any real benefit of a home life, or it's strained because there's so many other considerations. I don't think the aim was, I don't think the real victory was getting women into the workplace. I don't think that's the real victory. I'm sorry. I think it's great that women have all these choices, but I think at the end of the day, you can mask any kind of slavery as freedom. If I told you right now you could sleep with anybody, the first time you hear that, you'd be like, "That's amazing." After sleeping with a different person every day, you'd be like, "I don't know if I really like this anymore. I almost feel more like this thing rules me. I'm compelled to keep sleeping with more and more people now." And that's how freedom becomes slavery very quickly. And I'm saying it's the same thing. You make it. If you say to women, "Oh, you can't come into the workplace," they'll fight to get into the workplace. After a couple decades, and now you know what it's like to be in the workplace. You know what it's like to be alone. You're chasing wages and so on. You lose out on the very tangible aspects of life that are beautiful, that are wonderful, or your best years are spent in the office. After a while, you look back and say, "Wait a minute, was this really for my benefit?" Now, all of a sudden, nobody looks at you like you need help anymore. You're still trying to get guys to pay for you on dates. They're looking at you like you got your own money. You better pay for yourself. Having all of these weird conversations. Was this what it was all for? I mean, I'm not a woman, so it's easy for me to say from the outside, but to me, it doesn't sound like this was all strong victories. This doesn't sound like a series of W's to me. Anyway, let's get back to these comments real quick. Then we'll take a break and then take some calls. All right. Um. Oh, Ferguson said, if you are retiring a wife or mother, I assume you're a very high earner, and I assert you are probably not an employee. If so, how can she support you in your work/business? Um. I mean, that's true. Some people are employees and they seek to retire. Some people are get a windfall. There are, like I'm saying, there are rappers who get one hit song and they're bragging about how they bought their mom a house and their mom doesn't have to work anymore. I'm just saying that that's backwards. You know. Great topic. Thank you very much, Miss J Precious. I'm just wrapping up something that may come live to share my views. I appreciate you. We're gonna have a break and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna start taking calls. Um, do you need to hire an assassin to retire your mother? Not that kind of retire. All right. Shout out to Hush Pat. Isn't part of the problem that we now live in isolated family units rather than the villages we used to? That's a big part of it as well. I don't think big city living has really helped everybody. There's definitely some great economies of scale. You can build these huge towers and put these little housing units into them. But at the end of the day, everything's way more impersonal. People are way less safe because of the anonymity of being in the big city. And it's the reason why people move out to the suburbs when they want to start a family. Being in the big city is like a machine. They would go to the suburbs because they want a sense of community. I grew up in a household with aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents all under one roof. Yeah, I'm not sure about all under one roof, but close by. I don't want anyone listening to me while I'm trying to get it in. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Um, okay, so you guys are having a conversation in this. That's good. Um, cool, guys. I've I've enjoyed the fact you guys are really getting into it in the comments. Now we're gonna take a little short break. I'm gonna sip some more Irakura. and then when we come back, we're gonna start taking calls. So this clip, like I've done song of the week before with Celebrate by Self Taught Beats. I've been showing you clips from my podcast, the Boys Quarter podcast. Today, doing something a little different. I'm showing you a sketch that I shot and edited, slash directed as well. It was written by Fumbi Omotayo and it stars Ada and Lola Jagu. Very proud of this sketch. So this is your interlude. I hope you enjoy it. And in this time, please get yourself ready. If you would like to join in on a Zoom call, please do get yourself into the Zoom room. All I want to do is zoom in your room. So get yourself ready for the Zoom room, and we'll start doing that. But I hope you enjoy this little sketch that I shot. And feel free to tell me what my camera and editing work is like, my cinematography and filmmaking skills.
He's calling me. I'm not expecting any call. Hello?
Is this Mama Lola?
Yes? Who is on the line, please?
Madam, we have your daughter. And if you want to see her alive again, you will deposit a total of 40 million US dollars into a secret bank account today by 4 p.m. Otherwise, you will not see her alive again.
40 million. I gave me. Wait. Which daughter did you kidnap?
Lola!
40 million. For Lola. Mr. Kidnapper, you have to reduce it.
Madam, this is not a joke at all. We are very serious here.
Me too, I'm serious, Mr. Kidnapper. But 40 million is too much. It is too high. Do me a better deal.
Madam, it's not for negotiation. It's 40 million US dollars or we go kill her now.
Okay then, kill her. Because me, I don't have 40 million. So, I cannot come and kill myself. So if you like, kill her. That is your own choice.
Okay, madam, bring 20.
20 million. Mr. Kidnapper, you can do better than that now. Okay, give me discount. At least, let me give you 10.
You mean 10 million?
10,000.
Madam, you're supposed to consider me before you make offer. Christmas is on the way, and I have to settle my guys before I take something for myself. See, this is the problem I have with you Nigerians, and Nigeria in particular, because you people always trying to cheat people.
Mr. Kidnapper, nobody is trying to cheat you here now. Your estimation of Lola is too high. She can't cook, she can't clean, she's not married. Your estimation of Lola is too high.
Look, madam, we are going back and forth too much. Look, 100,000, that's my last price for you.
50,000.
Look, just wherever you are, just come and collect your daughter. Come and collect your daughter.
For 50,000?
That's right, yes, just come and collect her, please.
God bless you, Mr. Kidnapper. God will continue to expand your business. Mr. Kidnapper. Hey, my guy. Okay, let me quickly speak to Lola.
Hello, hi, Mom.
Don't hi mommy me. I sent you to go to the supermarket and you decided to get kidnapped. You agree? Okay. Oh, then I saw every penny of that 50,000. Oh, my daily. Shobo! You'll meet me at home.
Can I stay here, please?
Hey Jane, just give me a while, and I'm going to
I have a
get you on
picture.
soon. Yeah, I see your picture. Yeah.
But you don't want the logo, so I need to do it from my phone. My other, my other.
And, all right, to anybody who is watching and wants to get involved, get yourself in the Zoom room right now. We're about to start taking calls. We got the good sister Jade ready to go. Just give me a few minutes. We're gonna get her on. Shout out to everybody showing love in the comments for for the sketch. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We shot that sometime last year, I think. Trying to stay creative in a pandemic is tough. But I'm proud of it. All right, we're speaking to Jade. What's going on, sis?
Hey brother, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's kind of weird on the show just speaking to you, your flat picture, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Oh gosh, man, it's sending for me.
I don't know, like I know it's late at night right now. You got the bonnet on, you got the do rag on. What's going on? What's your current situation like?
My hair is looking dry, and I'm just moisturizing it. But I was on Clubhouse. I'm running myself a bath because I want to go and chill and have my little late night spa moment.
All right, I feel that. I feel that. I respect it. It's good. It's good to have you on, and you've been really active on the topic in the comments. So I want to hear your thoughts. Talk to me. Should a man be striving to, let's say first of all, his wife should be striving to retire his wife?
Where do you get these questions from? That's what I want to know.
Well, if you are checking out my Instagram stories today, well, actually no, a couple days ago I actually took the request. Well, I let people put their requests forward, and then today I went through them, and this question I really liked, so that's where it came from. It's from another listener on the show.
Okay. Very interesting. I've never heard of this concept before. I've always only heard of guys when saying, "Yeah, I want to make it big and retire my mum," and then da 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 da.
Yeah,
So,
we're gonna get onto the mum one as well. That's
mm,
definitely part of the question, but it was wives or mum, and so we're just talking about the wives part first, and then we're gonna go into the mum side. Do you think a man
yeah,
should be working to try and get his wife out of work?
this is a new concept to me, but as someone who personally identifies as having traditional values but being a modern woman, so there's some things I won't compromise on that are very traditional, and then there's some things like I feel like I am career driven, and I accept that I would have to work or be a working mother. Um, However, if I was to end up with a guy who wanted to do that,
Mm.
it would allow me to be a stay at home mum or relieve the burden of me having to work full time or part time. However, the what I've realized, the traditional typical perspective is that the burden or the weight of the nurturing and bringing up the children um, is on the mother when it should be equal between the two parents. I.e., I remember being equally excited when my dad would come and pick me up from school on his days off work or when he had like a half day or whatever, as well as him being attentive and turning up to, you know, school concerts or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
we can get into all of that side, but I want to quickly you mentioned something I want to quickly touch on. So you said that you're particularly career driven. What does that mean to you?
um, right now I'm a single woman, so I feel I have that luxury to spend a lot on myself to save, of course, for my future, because I do want to buy a property at some point. And I've also been traveling a lot. So I've had that luxury whereby, compared to my friends, especially those with kids, I've had ample opportunities and have, traveled a lot compared to them.
So
Um,
what I'm hearing is that because
uh,
you're single, you have the opportunity to fund a much more consumerist lifestyle. Is that am I correct in that assessment?
yes, but also save as well. Like I suppose I have choice, and I've been because of my situation, I've also there's been scope of leeway where I suppose I've had options or could have got away with doing certain things a certain way, whereas they couldn't have.
Okay, let me ask this question. Do you as a woman ever put aside money and think, do you know what? The fact that I earn this money is actually really good. It would be really helpful for me to take the pressure of provision off my husband. So basically the money is good because I can contribute to the household in a way that doesn't put as much pressure on the man that I'm with.
Okay, so like I said, I'm single, so I'm not in a marriage.
I know, but
I,
I'm saying as a single woman, do you ever think ahead and go, do you know what?
yeah,
I
I
need
think okay, the way that I think ahead is one, having emergency pot, two, my holiday fund, and three, my fund for my future mortgage. Like that's the big thing that's on my mind at the moment.
hmm
Um, a deposit. So the the fact that I've already saved or I'm saving for the deposit, and I'm kind of shocked to hear that there's people our age who are only just starting, especially guys. Um, yeah, that's a bit shocking to me, but I've already kind of started that investment for my future, either for myself or to alleviate some weight off my future spouse
Okay,
being
but be honest.
wedded.
Did you see it as a way to alleviate him, or do you see it as like, well, I'm setting a standard and basically he has to match that?
No, I saw it as um one, let me not rely or have to wait on being in a relationship to think that far ahead. Let me either one achieve it on my own, or two be in a position where I can be ready to kind of put a sum down equal to or even more than him, depending on his situation.
I respect it. I respect it highly. Okay, so moving on from you being a career woman, you mentioned that and I was basically talking to you about how it seems like the general approach has been, I can live a bit more of a consumerist lifestyle, so because I'm career driven and so on and so forth. Um, then we were now moving on to the idea of like, if you're with a guy, you're kind of traditional. If you're with a guy that wants to kind of retire you and so on, what's the minimum lifestyle that you would go? Do you know what? Once we've attained this, I actually don't need any more money. It's more important to me to look after children.
Um, that's something that I've recently just thought about. In all honesty, I'm a very active person. So I think realistically, at least a part-time basis, I would need to do something for myself that will utilize my skills career-wise, whether it be consulting on a consulting level or not doesn't have to be to do with charity work per se, but something that is skillfully and creatively fulfilled me, if that makes sense. When I look back on how my mum was, she was predominantly, I say, a traditional woman. Um, and as I think, yeah, as I entered secondary school, she was able to go back to work with full confidence and going full time or the full time contracts, and then had um contracts that were part time to kind of coincide with my brother who was younger than I, being at primary school still, and then eventually did other things that fulfilled her. So she kind of had a flexible career, but predominantly she was around a lot for us growing up. So
What do you?
that is
Okay,
the ideal situation,
yeah.
and I feel like, um, yeah, I feel like I am the same in the sense of I I suppose I would want a bit more than what she maybe had. However, I know worst case scenario based on what we managed and survived on, it's doable. However, the mindset I have is I rather have a lump sum or savings to kind of cushion me, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And
See, more money, more money, more money, more money.
listen, hola, behave yourself. No,
I'm trying to summarize. I'm trying to get it down. Okay, so sis, let me
like,
ask you about.
the living standards back then was different to it is now. So
Yeah.
I can't even, like, it's hard for me to equate, like, maybe I don't know, 25K back then is equivalent to, I don't know, 35K salary now. I don't know. Maybe that's the equivalent.
Okay.
And so if that is the case, then it's a case of, boy, that's how much at the minimum he has to be earning. Plus, I would want to earn at least half of that part time.
Okay.
Or, or, but, um, but yeah, I was when a friend of mine or big brother asked me what is my minimum requirement salary wise, I was like, I gave him a figure, but I know it's unrealistic in the sense of it would narrow my pool.
Okay. Humor me. What was the number?
Okay, so this is based on if if I haven't bought a property yet.
Just
Um,
tell me the number. All of these disclaimers, all of this lead up, and foreplay. Just give me the number. What's the number? Your minimum requirement. Let's go.
no, the number I gave is what I would be comfortable with. The minimum requirement, I would say, we both would have to be earning a minimum of 35.
Okay.
I
And
think
what was the number you gave though?
so. The number I gave in regards to the spouse, if we were to solely live off the spouse's income, ideally it would be around the 50K mark.
50K.
Look at your eyebrows there, Jesus.
Do you say 50K?
Yeah,
That's not.
meaning that,
That's not that crazy. I'm not particularly shocked by that. I'm just saying that like I just wanted to know what the number was in your mind. That was like that's where
yeah,
you would go. All right, it's
of
enough.
within finance or tech, then I'll be given a different number. But I feel like that is the minimum.
Okay,
If
fair
that,
play. Fair play.
like,
You ain't got to be scared. You don't have to be trying to be
I know
fake. Give me fake
how you
numbers.
say it when we have our little chats.
No, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. No, no, get your little 50K, girl. I ain't mad at you.
No,
All right, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
that's
Let, let me ask you this. If you see a man trying to retire his mum, do you think that that is how it should be or not?
okay. So in this scenario, is he like a high earner, i.e., earning above 100K and
Uh,
consistently?
okay, tell me for both scenarios. I want to understand how what he makes it different.
Because, for example, if you're earning like in the 100K bracket plus,
Hmm.
with maybe extra sum going towards um being paid to you via, I don't know, a business company, so you get a lower tax rate on that extra sum. Then it's a case of affordability on the credit score. you could afford to do that potentially, assuming that you have already prioritized that we have secured our home first. The
Okay,
priority is
so,
our
so
home first.
okay,
Make
so
sure
if you see a man, if you see a man trying to retire his mum, your first concern would be, have you prioritized me, your wife, your family, your own kids before you send money back up the chain, right? That's what you're saying, right?
no. Well, if your mum needed help paying certain bills, cool, help her as long as like our basic needs are covered. Like
Okay, okay, but what I'm saying is that retire her, like she doesn't have to work anymore.
we would have to be in a position as a family where we could afford to do that.
Okay, then. So so you're still saying the same point, which is that you and the kids have to come first. You guys have to be set. You have to be nice, and
But
then you can bless the mum or try and retire the mum.
because when a man leaves his home to marry
Hmm.
and then start a family, your family is your number one priority.
I agree with you. I agree with you. This is the point I was trying to make, and I
Uh,
think that sometimes there's an undue pressure that mums put on their sons, um, to basically
that's
be a
when they're
surrogate
single.
husband.
That's when they're single, isn't it?
Yeah, especially if it's a single mum. And sometimes the situation
Okay,
where the dad
when
has died, if the dad's passed away, I understand sometimes, but really the dad should have been preparing with life insurance to set his
exactly.
wife up after he goes. We really need to talk about life insurance in
Yes.
our communities. Maybe one of these days I'm gonna get a life insurance agent on who's gonna come out here and give people some
Save
deals or whatever is necessary. We need to get
and
life insurance.
save in general as well as life insurance.
Yeah, but I mean, life insurance is a big deal in the sense that, like, you can pay into these premiums, and then at least there's going to be a lump sum that comes. A savings might be based on how much you can physically save over the amount of time you live. But if I start paying premiums now and I die in 3 years, it's good because I know there's going to be a set amount for my family. I've got life insurance. My wife has life insurance. I think it's really important. I think you need to get it if you get a mortgage. So some of you may have
Yeah,
it for your mortgage, but in terms
it's
of
optional. Mm.
it's optional, do you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I know someone who didn't get one even though she bought her place. But I was like, she's thinking about it now after I spoke to her about it.
Nah,
But
for
because
real.
I have kids,
We need to talk about it. We need to definitely get on life insurance, but also specifically, I feel like there's a lot of, do you know what it is, yeah? There's some unruly mums and aunties who have
mm,
basically spent a lot of time being very uncooperative with their husbands because they believe that their children are their pride and joy and their children are going to look after them, or the rest of the family is going to look after them. And what they're doing is they're placing undue burden on money that should be going into certain family homes. A man that's supposed to be looking after his wife is now sending money to his mum. That's not where how it should be. If he wants to bless her out of abundance, but she's good, that's fine. But the fact that she, like, you grow old and then become a financial burden on your children, I don't agree with that way of life, and I think we really need to start changing that. We really need to see, mothers, and aunties, especially the ones that have ended up single, have some very strong pensions behind them, have some very
it's
strong plans for retirement. And to be honest, like, it's tough. It's hard to say because mums are very close to our hearts. But at the end of the day, if mum has to keep working, she has to keep working. You didn't have a say of what she did with money in her time. Maybe she was balling out of control. Maybe she was going on holidays. She had a holiday fund. Maybe she was
behaving.
buying herself stuff.
I think it's a cultural issue in a sense of I feel like you're Nigerian in it, but I feel like those from Africa have an extra pressure
Huge
on
pressure.
them, an extra pressure compared to those of Caribbean descent to
Okay.
quote, to quote unquote um retire their mums or whatever. Like when you hear a Caribbean or someone of Caribbean descent doing saying that, it's usually because they just want to bless their mum with a
Mm.
house that they have to worry about paying for.
Should
Do
be
you
good.
know?
Yeah.
So that's the mindset that we have, kind of thing,
I
or
like it.
ideology. Whereas you lot, it's it seems like not only do you have pressure to marry quick and to breed up the place, you got to also retire your your aunties or your mum or grandma, whoever. And yeah, I feel that, like you said, that's wrong. Two, I feel like on both sides, um, we need to talk about financial literacy as well, because even if the dad does die, like there's some mothers, or I have some friends where their mothers worked multiple jobs and they end up like become landlords and stuff like that. And that's so inspiring and inspirational. Where
Yeah.
there's others who have struggled but did eventually build a career in their chosen field, i.e. as a nurse or something.
Mm.
So that's still good either way, but it's a case of financial literacy. Like education is important. Yes, we need to do life insurance, but that's not the only avenue. The Having the ability to understand that you have to maintain a certain ratio between what you earn and what you're spending is just as important, because
Yeah.
that will affect credit ratings,
Facts.
and also, the available access to certain emergency funds, or what you can potentially do with not a credit card or a loan, or like get a better offer as for a mortgage, or just extra favor if you were to kind of lose your job and you fell behind one or two payments,
Mm.
with certain utility bills or whatever, because you were in right standing with your credit in the first instance, you're kind of seen as a lesser risk. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
I
what I mean? So there's the whole financial literacy, as well as um I I I don't mean to judge, but I feel there's a stronger urge amongst my African friends. Um, Most of them are Nigerian and Ghanaian, but I have a few from other areas. But
fr-
essentially, like, you lot are big on designer. In fact, I noticed this in the
Hey,
some of the
no,
Indian,
no, no, no,
Indian,
no, no, no. We're not gonna
Indian.
talk about this. We are not gonna have this. Nah,
No, no, no,
not,
no.
not,
But it's part of the
not
conversation.
from the people that gave us Ed Hardy shirts and all these other designers that you
Listen,
have been
we have
mentioning.
conversation, because it's it's the fact. Yes, we music videos, like, everyone's over capitalizing on product placement, or encouraging these lifestyle behavior, or to go shopping to get this handbag and that shoes or trainers, red bottoms, whatever, on both sides of the gender. But also, yeah, I just feel like there is there seems to be extra emphasis for getting certain designer stuff to be seen as better than, or on another level to so and so, or see me, look at me kind of thing, showy. And that is, in general terms, how the world is moving. But I just feel like it's a lot more from yeah, you lot side, and also amongst some some Asian communities as well. Um, Whereas,
The Asians are catching strays right now. The Asians like, what did we have to do? Don't bring my name into
no,
this.
no, but that's like, remember, I almost lived in China, so like, yeah,
Oh,
I know.
really? Interesting. We'll talk about
So
that another time. I want to hear more about that actually. But right now, I just wanted
yeah,
to,
basically there's some areas or countries where
yeah,
that is the lifestyle, and they are big on luxury.
yeah,
So some afford it, and then there's some countries or some people who are perpetuating a certain lifestyle when they
yeah.
need to just focus on living within their means
I
at
agree with
the
you. I agree with you, man. Do you know what? Yeah, thank you so much for jumping on, sis. I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't want this to run too long and overstay our welcome out here in these streets. But I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate you throwing up a
okay.
little picture, a little professional LinkedIn picture right there for us. And
Not LinkedIn. Yeah, I've got a better LinkedIn one.
and I appreciate your insight on this as well. It's very interesting to listen to another side, and also understand how much culture has come to affect our understanding of money. Good on you for putting money aside. I hope you get your property. I hope you get your
And
holidays. I hope you get your husband, man. Let's all win in this life.
yeah, you can definitely hook me up with a few friends in it.
Uh uh
Uh, 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 uh.
Do you know? Yeah.
But yeah,
One of these days we're gonna do a single show.
is it
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. One of
I
these
I
one of
heard
these
of them,
Friday night
but
vigils is gonna be a single show, and, and
mhm.
and people gonna come up and do a little dating profile, and then
Oh Lord,
I'm gonna bring two people up to have a conversation at the same time in front of everybody.
that's tense. That laugh, man.
It's gonna be fun that
Okay,
day. All right, guys. Thank you so much again, sis.
thank you.
And I appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Yo.
Have you got someone else coming?
uh, at the moment, no one else is lined up.
Um,
So, all right,
where's
guys.
the
If you're in the YouTube right now and you want to jump on a call, make sure that you jump into the Zoom room within the next 5 minutes. If not, we're gonna wrap up the show and wrap up the talking points and keep it moving. Sis, thank you for jumping on as well again.
welcome? Peace. Bye.
Bye bye. All right, let's start wrapping this up, man. It is midnight. We are really out here doing Friday night vigil. I appreciate the fact you guys stay up for this show. And for those of you that watch this afterwards as well, you're loved and appreciated. I see the views pump up afterwards. I just want to say to everybody that's in the joint right now, I really hope that you are subscribed to this channel. I really, really hope. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by August. I'm trying to make sure I'm consistent with the content. I know I need to do better. I need to put more videos out on my YouTube channel. But that's what I'm working on. That's my goal. So that's what I'm working towards. Make sure that you are subscribed. And also, just in general, for good measure, when it comes to engagement, make sure you just click like on this video as well. It just really means that at least the algorithm starts to recognize that people are watching and enjoying the show. So yeah, just engage with me. Make sure you hit up my social media. You can see it up there right now. That's my Instagram, and that's my Twitter. So make sure you go follow me real quick, and interact with me during the week so that when we're talking about topics for Friday Night Vigil, you can get involved. Spread the word, man. Tell people about the show real quick. You know what I'm saying? Big up me one more time for this dope ass studio setup. In fact, all right, big up me for this amazing setup. I really do like it. I really do like what you guys are bringing with the vibes, with the conversation, with the good will. Um, and I want to say another shout out to Irakura. Thank you so much for bringing some mixology to my evening. I like um, I like attention to detail. Even the textures, the sort of the bleached wood in for the stoppers, the black bottle, the very neat label. This is not an amateur operation over here. I love it. I love the vibe. This is very much what I'm about. I like to have nice drinks. I'm a drinks guy. I do like to have nice drinks. And also, I like an air of sophistication. A little bit of pretense never hurt anybody. So please, guys, go check out Irakura on Instagram. Irakura Irakura London. That's what their Instagram handle is. Irakura London. I'm sure once you start typing in Irakura, it will show up. I don't know how many Irakuras are out there. Guys, we're rounding off on an hour and a half. This has been an absolute pleasure as always. I want to say thank you to El Ferguson and Hushpat and everybody else that's been active in the chat section. I want to say shout out to everybody that watched for a while on Instagram. Make sure you head on over to the YouTube. Make sure that you're involved in the YouTube. So yeah, make sure you click the subscribe. Make sure that you've turned on notifications. Make sure you've clicked like and done all that stuff. If you do want to support the show, right there is my Cash App, and right there is the Patreon. You can support Patreon for as little as £3 a month. So buy me a cup of coffee. And with the Patreon, you get access to episodes a week early of Boys Quarter podcast that I do with Fumbi Omotayo. And also you get access to the full videos as well of that, not just the audio. So, guys, on that note, we're going to wrap this up. Again, I want to say shout out to you guys, and I will see you next week. Stay blessed, guys. Peace.